What's up, guys? Out doing some more wiring repair to make the new harness fit in the truck. As you know, I'm going to reuse the turn signal harness assembly from my old harness. I had already replaced the turn signal switch pigtail a few years ago, but the wires on it that are good are not quite long enough to reach where I needed to go on the wires that I was going to use off the old harness. You know, I was just going to use the length of them to make it long enough. The coating on them is kind of turned to a soft jelly-like rubber, and it's real easy to go through even with your fingernails. So I'm putting some new wire on in place of that, and I've already measured out the length I need and cut it all to length. So let me show you something with this, and it did have number tags on it too, so I'm not confused about where things go. But if you look at it here, let's just see. Yeah, see, I can just peel that away with my fingernail. It's so soft. And I mean, as old as it is, I'm not surprised. And you might think, well, you know, just tape up over it, it's not going to rub on anything. But when stuff gets this soft, these wires can actually meld together, and actually you can see where they've been doing that, just pressing into one mass. And then you end up with not shorts to ground, but you know, cross voltages and shorts to other circuits where there's not supposed to be inside the harness. And it's best to just do away with that while you can. So that's what I'm addressing here. And I wanted to show you how to kind of solder military wiring, because Prestolite wire is actually a tinned wire. It's more like marine wire, so it's got a higher corrosion resistance even inside the jacket if moisture were to penetrate. So when you see, focus you turd, see what I mean? It's not copper color, it's silver color, which means it has been pre-tinned. So that actually, as long as there's no corrosion on the outside of the tin, which would be a greenish or whitish color, it makes it easier to get solder to stick to it. You don't have to heat it up as much. It doesn't melt the jacket as much. And to do away with melting the jacket, I suggest you use a high wattage soldering gun. This is a 100-watt wall, which actually uses Weller power tips, I think. And this thing works great. And you'll want to tin the end of your iron freshly if it's been sitting a while. And I use, I don't know what that, Bernzomatic. So it's silver bearing solder. Rosin core. This is, what does that say? 1.6 millimeter, 0.62 inch. This is about the perfect size for doing 14 and 16 gauge wires on this truck. You know, bigger wires like the 8 gauge and the 12 gauge, 10 gauge, you'll want to use a larger solder. Around, no, is that plumbing? I got all my solders in one spot. That's metal work. I think this is electrical. That's big shit. This is also rosin core. And I use that for soldering the bigger 8 gauge and all, like I said. So, and yes, I have done it not with this iron. You're not going to solder wire that big very well. You can do it, but it's really hard. I use a small torch, and it does melt the jacket, but you heat shrink it. This only takes a minute to heat. Okay, you tin your iron, and I can't do it because I don't have the camera set up in a holder, but there's plenty of videos that show you how to do basic soldering. So if you need to learn the basics before you get into this is just kind of a, you know, the military wiring is a little bit different than standard copper wiring, because it will, here's the thing, if you try to put too much solder in it, it will end up sucking solder down into the jacket, and then it'll make that hard, and it'll be a break point. It won't be flexible. You want as little solder as possible and just on the joint. When you solder the wires together, you don't just lay them on top of each other and solder them, okay? You want to you want to fit, god damn, you want to fit the strands together like interlocking fingers as well as you can. It'll give you the strongest joint. And then of course don't forget to heat shrink it. You've got, you know, one empty end right now to slide some heat shrink on, and take care of that end, which I'm going to do for all of them. And then when I go and solder it onto the main harness there where all those eyelets are, I'll cut the eyelets off, the ring terminals, and then solder and heat shrink as well. So it'll be all new wire except what's coming out of the pigtail for the first foot or so. And shouldn't have any more problems for another 50 years. When you get all your stuff done, it is important to completely tape everything up as far and as close to, and you can even put tape on the base of the connector. What you want to do is keep UV sunlight off of the wiring itself, because that's what makes it rot right at the connectors. You'll notice if you cut the tape back just a little bit, the wires won't be rotted. And so if you can protect them with tape, that'll save you more problems in the future. I got to get back to work. Just wanted to show you that and tell you a little bit about it before I get it done. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you would, please, and we'll see you later.